Hello, and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your twice-weekly dose of the finest 2A propaganda. Today, I have the pleasure of telling you Bumpy boys are legal again in Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals issued a final judgment against the federal government, and F Troop decided not to appeal.
Applaud, everyone! Applaud sarcastically. No, that sounds too sincere. Slow clap. There we go.
That means the ruling is final in the Fifth Circuit, but only in those 3 states. If you live anywhere else, well, don't get caught. But why would the feds appeal the decision? Because they know they are unlikely to win, and a SCOTUS ruling is likely to broadly apply to agency interpretation of statutes in general, not just fast shooty things. And that should help stuff the AFT back into its constitutional bottle. So they aren't in any hurry to enforce that ruling, but it does create a split between the lower courts, which more or less requires the Supreme Court to intervene, whether the feds want it or not. So if you live in Texas, Louisiana, or Mississippi, does this ruling mean you can run out to your garage right now and build yourself one, or find one out in the woods? Maybe? So, as always, I'm not a lawyer because I can count past 10 with my boots on, so this legal advice is worth every penny you paid for it. But the ATF could theoretically apply for a stay in this case, which would then allow them to still issue indictments against people getting caught with Bumpy boys. But they haven't filed for a stay yet. Then again, maybe that was just because they were too busy high-fiving each other about incinerating innocent women and children. In any case, this is still evolving, and I'd advise discretion at the very least, regardless of your AO. But hey, there's no way we could continue to produce quality 2A propaganda without our sponsors, so before I tell you why New Jersey man just might be the new Florida man, let's pay some bills. Today's video is sponsored by TNVC.com, who believes God's plaid belongs on all the things, and by Winchester. Check out their new clip packs. 30 rounds of spicy M193 or 855 loaded on clips with handy loading spoon. As always, you'll find links down in the doobly-doo.
Hey friend, it's dark half the time on this planet, so unless you got shiny eyes like Riddick, you're gonna have a hard time operating operationally unless you get night vision from TNVC.com.
Hey everybody, I just caught a terrorist! Said no TSA agent ever, not once. Pound for pound, the TSA is the biggest law enforcement agency in the country, but hardly the most effective. Still, you know the saying about blind squirrels and all that. When a Newark TSA agent awakened from diabetic shock between his 3rd Cinnabon and 5th Krispy Kreme, he must have glanced at the screen just long enough to accidentally do his job and found 2 loaded Glock mags in a carry-on. I mean, it really is cruel for them to put a Cinnabon and a Krispy Kreme right next to the checkpoint. How can they possibly expect a dozen people with a combined IQ of 50 to resist that kind of temptation? Faced with the inescapable fact that work would have to be done, the TSA super cops sprang into action and found an armor carrier with a deputy marshal placard on it. They pulled the man's checked bags off the plane and found an AR, a pistol, a .308, a rifle, a taser, and an expandable baton. Narrator chimes in here, he was not, in fact, ever employed by the marshals. But he did turn out to be a convicted felon, so he's going to have a little time out for a while and think about how he totally would have got away with it if he didn't try to save money on that baggage fee and stuff the things into his carry-on. One last gem from this article before we move to the next is this quote from TSA spokesperson R. Carter Langston.
It's absolutely unacceptable for firearms to be even near checkpoints.
You see, that's where you're wrong, sport. It actually is normally acceptable for firearms to be near checkpoints. What is not permissible by FAA or airport policies is for a person to attempt to pass through a checkpoint with a firearm. But reading comprehension and nuance are not attributes the TSA is known for, particularly TSA agents who live in New Jersey. Now, I assume 87% of WWE fans live in either Florida or New Jersey, too. Now, I'm not trying to be all judgy. It's none of my business what you people are into. Some people juggle geese. I'm just saying, pro wrestling has a very Jersey Shore / deepest, darkest, tooth-missingest Everglades kind of vibe for me. The one place the Gunshine State beats the Garden State is gun rights, though. Sonya Deville, aka Daria Baronato, is one of the characters on the WWE show, and she recently got arrested for possessing a weapon without the Crown's pleasure in Atlantic City when some nosy valet went poking around in her glove box and found a handgun, then ratted her out to the cops. Baronato bought the handgun in Florida a few years ago after she was attacked inside her own home. According to TMZ's awkward reporting, she holds a Florida concealed carry permit. At least I think that's what they mean. Florida not only has no gun registry whatsoever, it's expressly prohibited by statute to maintain a registry of gun owners in that state. TMZ also didn't bother to provide the name of the casino with the nosy valet, so I went snooping around. Turns out it was the Borgata Hotel. So if for some terrifying reason you find yourself unable to avoid Atlantic City, at least be certain to avoid the Borgata Hotel while you're down there in that disgusting hive of scum and villainy.
Industry news.
Now, if you haven't just emerged from a week-long power outage, you just might have heard about this new Foldy boy from Smith & Wesson. And yeah, as everybody's pointing out, it does have a strong resemblance to the Sub 2000, both mechanically and in concept. But as many others are firing right back, it looks like Big Blue legit fixed a lot of problems with the earlier design. By folding to the side, it preserves the ability to mount whatever sighting systems you wish without some Rube Goldberg foldy over contraption. The charging handle is more ergonomic and held in place by one of the slots in the polymer rail. The butt holds 2 spare mags, and no, it doesn't take Glock mags. I haven't felt the trigger yet, but it's said to be more or less the same as M&P pistols, which is a good thing. MSRP is $660. If you want more details, I'm sure there are at least like 3 videos over there in the recommended right now, but I particularly enjoyed Mr. Guns and Gear's style. And now for your moment of zen.
And I personally like having clouds of oil come off, say for instance, when I go to lubricate my Johnson. So as you can see.
Hey friends, do you like pews and pew-related things? Do you want to help us keep delivering you pure uncut American pew propaganda at the low price of $3.99? We literally couldn't pay the bills without our sponsors, so do us a solid and get yourself something nice from them. You deserve it. I love you.